amongst the way with a lot of companies. So, and just to clarify, when we talk about branding and marketing,
hi, my name's Tamara. You are on the Emporium Facebook page, and we are preparing to do a live stream, a studio session, all about how to get started in the tech and games industry. It's really fantastic to be here. I run a business called Create Business. And I think I'm having mic trouble. Okay, hello. I think we had a little bit of trouble with sound again. Lyndon, can you hear me? And can everyone else hear me? Yeah, gorgeous. Let's start from the start again. I'm Tam. I run a creative enterprise called Create Business, and I am hosting today's studio session for the Emporium Creative Hub, which is all about getting started in the tech and games industry. Before I introduce our awesome, exciting, and fantastic guests we've got here with us, I want to do acknowledgement to country. The Emporium Creative Hub acknowledges the traditional owners, the Dja Dja Wurrung people, on lands we meet, share, work and create. We pay our respects to elders and leaders, past, present and emerging, for they hold the memories, tradition, the culture and hopes of all Dja Dja Wurrung people. Welcome. I am very excited to be talking about today's session, which is gaming as a career. How do you get into the gaming industry? How do you make gaming studio happen, or even work with other studios when you're based regionally? I have Ben here. Hey, Ben.
Hey, everyone.
Ben is the director of Gravy Stained Pants. And I have David here.
Hello.
Dave, I'm not 100% sure actually how to pronounce your business name. I should have asked you before we went live.
Luggarrah. So Luggarrah means play, fun and diversion in my language.
Luggarrah. Gorgeous. That's what we're going to do right now. And Paulina, director and founder of DragonBear Studios.
Hello.
Thank you so much for being here.
No, my pleasure.
I'm going to do a quick intro, formal intro to you all before we get to know each other a bit better. I'd like to welcome our guests on the Emporium Facebook page. If you've got questions or ideas, or want to introduce yourself, let us know a bit about your creative enterprise. We'd love to hear from you. Actually, Lyndon, I'm getting a text here from someone who's trying to view, wondering if the stream's happening. I don't know if you might be able to help them out. But Ben is a freelance graphic designer and founder of Gravy Stained Pants. And Gravy Stained Pants is a boutique graphic design business that's dedicated to creating funky and energetic visuals for creatives, innovative brands and adventurous organisations. Ben has got a bold style that blends the line between art and design, bringing unique design solutions to any problem. And Ben is based in Castlemaine at the moment. And David is, again, Trollalawapwa. Kinaway man, and founder and managing director of Luggarrah, a wholly owned and Aboriginal owned and Kinaway certified business. Luggarrah is focused on using technology to heal country and connect people from diverse backgrounds in regional areas to new opportunities. Love what you're doing, David. And Paulina. Paulina is independent game designer, artist and creative director of DragonBear Studios. She is a passionate advocate of accessibility and diverse representation across industry, best known for her work on the upcoming game Enchanted, Paulina is enjoying complexity of using narrative design to explore serious social issues within the context of humour and adorable art styles. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I have got my first question that I'd like to ask you all. Did you ever think that working in the gaming industry could be a career and a thing that you do?
Who wants to go first?
Paulina, you go ahead.
All right. Not really. I didn't realize games were a profession. I just played them. I didn't think about how people made them. That seemed like something that happened in America. So I definitely didn't think about it as a profession until a couple of years ago when I joined the games industry, I guess.
Yeah.
For me, I found that, I didn't really know much about getting into the games industry as a kid at all, similar to Paulina, but it was actually just through university that I found out that you could actually sort of take that road, potentially going through university into the games industry. So that was only, maybe 4, 5, 6 years ago,
And for myself, I am actually from a construction horticulture background. So up until a couple of years ago, that's what I was doing. Did screen and media at a local TAFE, and sort of saw the need for providing better opportunities for not just regional youth, but also those from underrepresented demographics, so Aboriginal, Torres Strait Islander, neurologically diverse and culturally and linguistically diverse backgrounds.
And you're right. That gaming sort of always seemed to come from elsewhere, and sort of this magical sort of how do you get in there and make it happen? And obviously, you've touched on something and also drawn something quite strong and passionate from yourselves to make that connection and get a career off the ground. Paulina, as founder and director of DragonBear Studios, you describe your team as storytellers. What do you and your storytellers do?
Well, games take a long time to make. So me and my storytellers, we work together to, I guess, try and translate the energy of ourselves into a narrative or a story that expresses play and meaningful, themes and issues in the world, and it engages players and audiences to reflect and enjoy time with those experiences. So this could be anything from our musicians to our artists, our programmers. We've got a lot of different people in the team, and we all come together in a cross-disciplinary way to make something beautiful together.
That sounds like a really great place to be. Do you have like a special, Monday mornings we're going to review our story ideas and a collaboration session, and then how do you have a set of characters that you always work with? How are you getting into that space?
Well, the entire game is the story. So I guess you can break it up into the narrative role, which I do a lot of the narrative role. But every part of everything you see on screen is part of the story, from the art to the music to even the mechanics. That's all part of it. I guess we have regular meetings about how things are going, but also we run our server in our studio in a Discord server at the moment due to COVID. But there's screenshots and videos in the server, and it kind of shows the progression of all the things we're working on and all the different feedback and things everyone has for the team.
Cool. Sounds fantastic. And Paulina, it was just so exciting to meet you and see on your website how many people you do have in your team, and the deliberate fostering and diversity of people that you have in your team. So super exciting. And you've, built all this from scratch. How did you make that happen? Tell me in 2 minutes. And how long have you been in operation?
Yeah, that's a good question. How did I make that happen? I guess with a lot of people's help, really. Like, so many people have touched this project. So many people have mentored us and helped us, including like most of the people in this room. Every game developer that we've met has been like, given us advice and encouragement, and kind of helped me and my co-founder Ben, who started the game concept and then took it to shoot with prototyping, then to get funding at Film Victoria. It's been quite a process. It's been, I think, 2.5 years of development and butting heads and trying to figure out the best way to make this go, and testing it at PAX, seeing how the audience reacts to things, seeing how the vibe and the feeling of things go, and what inspires emotion and reactions and causes players to get very excited, and balancing that with wanting to give players a kind of harmonious experience that's also fun and engaging and sometimes frantic, but not all the time. I think you can't hear the audio of this, perhaps. If you'd like to watch the audio of it, you're welcome to go to Enchanted, as in INN, enchanted.com, and check out this trailer.
Thank you. Lyndon will share the link to that, Paulina. I'm amazed that you have created that so quickly, like less than 2 years.
That's like a long time.
I don't think it is really. I mean, for a business to gather the right people and to be really clear about, what you're doing and where you're going and what you're making, it's pretty special. And it sort of indicates to me that in the, you've located yourself well, so you've got some great networks around you that are supporting you to produce and work towards, release.
Yeah, thank you.
So I think, I am just an observer and really getting to know what it is you do, Paulina. But I think, and I'd like to talk about what it is you offer the gaming industry. Yes, you are, getting ready to launch a game, and you're offering products. But I think you're also offering a culture, or what Australia's gaming industry is like. Do you want to talk a little bit about that for me?
Yeah, I guess it's an interesting thing. Like, I guess we're just one small studio in Australia, which there are heaps of big studios. But I guess we're looking for a particular direction of how we want to make games. We want to make games ethically if we can, in a way that treats everyone well. We try to avoid crunch. But also, our studio really cares about representation and making sure that people who don't get screen time, particularly in Australia, get screen time. So they're making sure our characters are represented. Our team is really diverse. We have artists from all over the place, including First Nations artists, which are really exciting. And I guess we're just trying to really build a place of harmony that can support creatives to, make the best work that they can and support each other, particularly in this difficult year. And create a project that will emanate that energy of, this is what the world could be. This is what the world can be if we all try and treat each other a bit more nicely and expand our horizons of what we imagine things and fantasy to be. Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Tell me about this. There's just so many things going on there. Like, you've kind of got that, that vision of, the way you work and what you want to create. But then also having that skill set behind it. Tell me a bit about how you, established your skill set to, realize that you're going to open a studio and create a game, and then knowing the skill set that you need around you, just to sort of unpack how a studio comes together to make a game.
So it takes a lot of skill sets, and over the 2.5 years of running this, my role has changed. At the start of the project, I actually got to make the game. Oh, that was exciting. I got to be a lot more involved in the day-to-day operations of how the game was going, because we were setting all this structure up. But as our team got bigger and the game got bigger, I had to actually start stepping outside and really take on a business development role, because someone has to run the studio, someone has to, master all the finances, handle all the pitching and so many things, HR, marketing, everything. And so I've kind of had to step aside from my game designer hat, which was a really great hat, and move to really focusing on these areas at the moment. And I guess that's been a good thing. I have a background in business. I have a background in working in project management, in government, in corporate. And all of those skills, contribute to where you are and how you will, I guess, achieve those business goals that you're after. And certainly, making sure I network and meet with other people in the industry, and even outside of the industry as well, has helped find the right people to bring in to complement those skill sets that we need to complete this project.
Awesome. I think when we first had a chat, Paulina, you were talking about there is just a huge number of graduates who are getting those skills, and maybe can be a mismatch between people's skill base and getting work in a studio, and that and it kind of sounds almost like a tough industry to get into. Yeah. What are your observations around that?
I'm sure Ben will also have some great observations about this, but and David, of course. But it is a tough industry. A lot of the money and the backing is in a particular group of businesses and areas, and it's hard to reach those areas. It's hard to kind of get in and work out who those decisions makers are and how to, I guess, find your place within that. So, but I think a lot of industries are very competitive. Particularly games is quite competitive because it has such a consumer-facing industry. Everyone plays these games and thinks, oh, I want to make this game too. And there are only so many jobs unless you make your own. So I think there is a big mismatch in the number of graduates that are being churned out, possibly across every industry as well, though, and the amount of actual jobs.
What would you say when you are thinking about bringing someone onto your team? And what, I guess you're looking for that skill set. What else are you looking for?
A few things, actually. And it's interesting because I'm hiring right now, so I think about these processes all the time. I care about how well the person can do the job. And to me, that's more about their portfolio or their experiences rather than what degree they have or whatever. Perhaps I'm a bit non-traditional that way. Because I think that a lot of people can achieve great things with, self-learning. I taught myself 3D art from YouTube. So I don't think you need a degree necessarily.
Yeah.
To get what you need. I do think that people skills are 100% the most important thing. I will pick someone who's easy to work with, who understands time management and understands how to interact with people in the best way over some, I guess, over some really creative genius. I would pick someone that's easier to work with. Because ultimately, I'm responsible for the team working harmoniously. And if someone's going to interrupt that, if someone's going to cause drama or, not be very considerate of others, then it's not going to do well.
No, it's that person potentially could be a risk to your entire project. Yeah, lots of interesting factors in there. If we have got some people there in the audience who are thinking about getting into the gaming industry or you've got a creative enterprise that you want to connect in with the industry and get contracted to work, love to hear from you. Please share your questions and ideas and comments in the Facebook chat. Ben, I have to ask, why gravy stained pants for your studio? Am I allowed to ask that question? And it's, I just get corduroys, I get the 1990s, and chips and gravy and kind of all mixed, mashed together. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, it's kind of an interesting story, actually. So the name itself originated from when I was doing a bunch of like really experimental design, magazine design called zines. I'm not sure if people have heard that, but it's sort of like this really weird subculture, really, and people just make really obscure art. And so my mate sort of dragged me into one, and so I signed up, but I noticed that everyone was using like weird aliases, like not using their real names or anything. It was all sort of really ridiculous stuff, and I couldn't really come up with anything, and I had to get this form in to get into it. And so I was sitting next to my workmate, and I just turned to him and said, "Hey mate, can you just give me an alias?" And he just said gravy stained pants. Just being a bit of a cheeky fella, I guess, but I sort of stuck with it, and then went off and designed the logo and made these zines, and built up a really cool audience and developed my own style. And basically I reached this point where I wanted to transition from a really free creative practice that I wasn't really making money from, it was more just like a hobby, and then transferring it into a business. So the name transferred over, and it really sort of captures really what I'm doing. I like to work on really fun and positive projects and not take things too seriously. And it just seems to be a word that when you say it, people get a little grin on their face. So that's sort of how it all came about.
Absolutely. And you definitely had a brown suit on then. So I like it. I'm conjuring up the right image. So
is that the dancing one, is it, that you've got up?
Yeah, we did have that one up, Ben.
Yeah, sorry, I'm on my phone. I can't see it. But so that's the official gravy stained pants suit.
Yeah. Lyndon, if you could share some more info about Ben's studio on the chat, that would be great for people to check out. I have got a question coming through, but before I ask it, I'm just going to ask Ben, how did you, and I'm really interested for myself, as a small creative entrepreneur, how are you getting gigs inside the machine that is Australia's gaming industry and studios? Is it the outfit?
Well, it's been quite an interesting year. So my business only turned a year old a couple of days ago. So I launched my business as soon as the pandemic hit. So I had to really do some really innovative and wacky things to get people to hear me and be interested in my work. So hence the dancing video, I launched that in April. So it was basically me going, how can I generate business? And it's sort of, it's all sort of shaped in with my style and
so that dancing video did the trick?
No, not really. But when people see it, they like it. It doesn't really matter. I had a lot of fun, and it's sort of a collection of all these really crazy ideas, and then building up an audience. And I was pretty lucky enough to build a really good network over about 3 years working as an art director in the games industry. So I transitioned and had clients lined up, and so predominantly a lot of my work is with the games industry. So
yeah, that's great. Obviously, those sort of networks have really sustained you and your dancing style. I'm going to try that. Okay, I have got some exciting questions coming in, and even though we haven't heard from David yet, and we will get to you, David, to get into your background, I want to ask these questions, and I invite you all to jump in and share them. I've got Cadell. Hi, Cadell. And he wants to know, how did you get your start out of school? And I think when he's talking about school, he's talking about, high school.
It's one of those things, as you touched on earlier, a lot of graduates studying, or a lot of people studying game design, game production programming to get into games. The industry is, or the working industry is potentially not there, so hence why people go out and start their own studios or look at alternatives. people need to have a realistic approach that they won't get into a triple A game studio, but they should be looking at other avenues. Straight out of high school, you could do TAFE. There's people in the industry that started in psychology, went off to university to study psychology, which can transfer into serious games and looking at mental health or some of those messaging or some of the messages around that. Other people have art degrees, and that's also in history as well. So if you look at games like Assassin's Creed, they're actually using that game to rebuild Notre Dame, who had the horrific fire, and that game is that good with their historical representation, and it has that historical aspect to it, and people have actually gone through and replicated that into a game. So yeah, I would recommend a number of different avenues. Go out there and potentially get some life experience and really find your purpose and what you want to be doing and where you want to be playing. There are a number of community organisations, local councils, catchment management authorities, health organisations that might need an animation. They might need a website developed that also can be hosted, little side scroller games, or they might want something bigger and better later on. But there's some other ways to get involved in your local community rather than moving away and then potentially coming back or finding some of those other barriers. I'm sure.
Having a side hustle and learning from YouTube like Paulina did. Just kind of doing it.
There's a number of good YouTube tutorials out there. You've got Unity, Unreal, Blender. They all run their own tutorials. You've got Maya, which is more your high-end visual effects studios. Even Pixar run their own tutorial programs. Microsoft Minecraft. So depending on the age of the individual, you could start with that. They're also programming aspects as well. So you've got Scratch. You've also got some basic Python and also Swift if you're looking at Apple development. But yeah, the others may have other suggestions as well.
Yeah, I would definitely suggest exploring game jams. They're really exciting places to go. They're free, kind of periodically events that allow you to meet other people and kind of work with them to make a very tiny game over a short period of perhaps a weekend. And just kind of like a music jam, you work together, you collaborate, you find out which type of thing that you like to do and how you can bring that to the project. It's a really great way of meeting people too and making cool friends. But yeah, definitely that. And I guess really, as David said, it comes to exploring all these things and finding out which things you like so that you can figure out which direction. And sometimes that means just trying them all. I certainly did that. I think I've been in 5 different industries trying everything until I found the thing that I really liked doing.
Just a quick question, a side question from how would I find a game jam? Where's that?
So Global Game Jam is something you can Google, but there are heaps of game jams. Probably just need to start Googling game jams, see what comes up, and then you should be able to find one. Perhaps there'll be even one local ones in your region, perhaps. And I know that there's also Girl Geek Academy runs them for girls, and I know that there are heaps of them. There are resources, and sometimes you can even do them online. So yeah.
Unity, they are having their mega game jam at the moment. So that's just it's one of the games engines. So if people out there are, and you don't have to be a gamer, if you're looking at visual effects or any of your screen and media, a lot of the big production companies are using games engines and have been using games engines for quite a while now. If anyone has Disney Plus, The Mandalorian, majority of the second season was done in a games engine. So the efficiencies and having everyone in the same room on the same program with a games engine is the way of the future. So I know Unity, Unreal would Unreal having them the Mega Game Jam. Those other large organisations will also have that as well, and there's independent game jams aside from that as well.
I'm getting excited. Sounds great. Thank you for sharing these insights. Ben, did you want to talk about your speciality that you offer to the gaming industry and how you maybe got your start there?
I got my start actually studying graphic design prior to getting into the games industry via studying. So my sort of entryway in learning was through that system. And look, yeah, like everyone sort of mentioned, there's multiple avenues you can get into it, and yeah, it takes a lot of work, obviously. Like as people have mentioned, the industry is quite tough to get in, but yeah, trying a lot of things is probably the best recommendation to start exploring this stuff. And there's many avenues, and yeah, just you got to get lucky in a way. But yeah, once you sort of start finding a strong pathway that's quite clear, you can get there definitely.
Yeah, I imagine it takes a bit of grit. Got a question here from Magenta. She says, "Hi gang, I am looking at moving across from an advertising agency to the tech entertainment industry. Is there any tips and recommendations you would have? And have any of you made a similar transition between industries?"
Yeah, I certainly have. I've transitioned, like I said, from the games industry into the graphic design industry, essentially. So, yeah, it's a weird transition, and it's always going to be a bit bumpy. That's what happens when you jump streams. But yeah, you got to be pretty quick on your feet and being able to, prepare to take on new things with your business that may not be well known to you. So, yeah, for me personally, I found the transition a bit easy because I had the backup and skill set by studying graphic design. But yeah, if you're not super skilled with that, being prepared for that transition, yeah, learning some new skill sets so you become more familiar with the field that you're getting into. Yeah, it is something that you need to be very flexible with. And I think David would be a really good one to sort of discuss that, because he's transitioned and moving into tech spaces. So yeah, David, do you have anything to say about that, mate?
Yeah, so it really comes back to what you're wanting to do and what space. Tech entertainment, it's massive. Really, going back to looking at your purpose and I suppose also trends as well in the industry. If you're looking at programming or working for the large tech companies, Google, Microsoft, Salesforce is becoming really big. Salesforce does have an online. They all do AWS. They've all got their own online training courses that you can be certified in. The interview process is quite stringent. I would suggest maybe looking at an investment in your education. You've got Coder Academy. You've got not Girl Gig Academy, Girls Who Code, or Code Like a Girl. Sorry, Code Like a Girl is offering courses. I think they're started now, or the offerings are started now, and at the end of it, they endeavour to get you into an internship with an organisation that looks at coding, programming, and that tech space. And I know my wife's just gone through that experience as well. And yeah, start at that. There's also General Assembly, have offices all over Australia and also internationally. They run boot camps or courses over 9 months that you can be a part of, and they really do sit you in front of those tech companies, because those tech companies really want people in the industry. And as we found out from the COVID or the pandemic, you can do anything in your own little pocket of the world. As long as you've got half decent connectivity, you can be working for these large companies. If you're looking at more games, as Paulina said, game jams, university, you do have to look at 3 years. The potentially TAFE courses that might be shorter period of times, or there's the online tutorials as well. And if you have the right attitude and the motivation, as Paulina also touched on, most people in the industry will take you over being a guru and be all end all of one particular thing. And I suppose probably some of the best advice that I've heard of for someone working in the visual effects industry was don't be a dick. Pretty simple. If you can't work with people, if you can't get along and can't be in that team environment, you won't be employed. It doesn't matter how good you are at the end of the day. If you rub people the wrong way, if you can't gel with a creative environment, no one will hire you. And develop those people skills and be approachable and motivated to get into that space.
So I transferred from the from the corporate industry, from government and private corporation into the games industry, and a lot of that kind of skill set was very transferable. It was very useful. Definitely now, as I'm in a business development role. So I would say if you're in an advertising agency, then you might know some things about marketing that might be of great value to game dev studios. So I think that could be something that's really good. Lean into your strengths, lean into the things that you already know how to do if you've already established your skill sets, and think about how they could be used to apply to help others in the entertainment or tech industry, would be my advice.
Thank you, everyone. Magenta, I hope that answer gave you lots of options to think about things. I would love in a little bit just to talk a bit more about, those personal skills that might be needed, how to develop those, and also networks. But David, I wanted to ask you, what's your quest with Luggarrah? Pardon my pronunciation.
No,
and what's the future of gaming as a career in regional and rural Australia?
Yeah, I suppose my quest for Luggarrah is one of a community focus. So looking at bringing people from the industry out to the regional areas and showcase to the youth and also whole of community going forward that you can have a validated career in this space, whether it's game development, visual effects, or other tech industries. Agriculture's massive. There's also the training arm of a lot of these industries as well that are using game-based technology to have in their training packages. We're past the stage where we're expecting a 17-year-old to jump on a $1 million piece of farming equipment, or whether it's in mining or some of your marine assets as well. We can actually sit them in front of a computer screen and actually have something that is industry specific and train them up on that. So part of my quest is looking at pathways into tech, pathways into the industry as well as providing opportunities for young people in regional areas, because as we do know, boredom and a number of other issues are there, and that's due to lack of opportunities. We all seem to be based or focused on a trade background. It's either trade, hairdressing, or nursing, which is fine, or childcare, which is fine. It's still needed. However, with the demands and the innovations of technology, we're finding and we're seeing these large tech companies are wanting different people from different backgrounds to actually work and create ideas and give I suppose differences of opinions and problem solving skills to what they're after. So my quest is to have that initial stage and the initial opportunity and have that development with people like who are here today, to be involved and to showcase what they do and how they started their own journeys as well. And some of the mistakes and pitfalls that they've experienced. So this new generation coming through are into the industry a lot quicker. And the other question you had was, what is the future of gaming as a career in regional and rural Australia? Sort of touched on that as well. Agricultural health, we look at 3D imagery. We had at one of the events I ran, person who was looking at medical training. So a lot of doctors and those health professionals, before they actually touch a real life patient, will do stuff in augmented reality, virtual reality, and they will go through and do it 1,000 times and get it right in a virtual sense or an augmented sense before they actually even see a real person and a real patient, because trying to reduce errors or human error is there and potentially will always be there. We're not machines. We do make mistakes, but we can start to mitigate. So there's some of those big opportunities. Conservation land management, we are seeing, from something like COVID, a shift and a need to start addressing some of these environmental and also social problems.
So interesting. It really is. It's, what you're doing just speaks volumes to me, David. And, I can really testify to the lack of pathways and traineeship pathways for young people in rural regional areas that aren't trades, and the lack of connection to creative industries and just the possibilities that are out there. And I'm just very, very glad to know you're doing what you're doing, because that needs to be unpacked and connected. So thank you very much. It's great. And your discussion just then is really moving into my broader sort of questions, but I would like to just take it back to that idea of skill set. And we did spend a bit of time talking about, well, how do you get the skills to code? How do you get the skills to animate or work in these different ways, but also that really important skill of getting along with other people, working collaboratively, quite often creatives get these ideas, and they're really precious ideas. How do you get that sort of attitude and sort of be that person who's going to be of value to a creative team in a studio? It's, I don't think it's something you can get an online certification for.
I think, it's probably having probably first and foremost is getting outside of four walls, and looking at it's talking to people, and for some people this can be a real issue as well. But I think there's enough professional services and even just the creative industry. There are a number of people. It's probably one of the most diverse industries I've ever been a part of, and being a part of some of the bigger events. There can be barriers to that, financial barriers, but also distance, if you are coming from regional areas, and that's where I look at changing that and bringing people out to regional areas. And it's looking at having that discussion, because there are people exactly like, the audience or members of the audience there. We're all neurologically diverse. We just don't want to recognise it or put our hands up. We're all got our own little nuances, and it's just finding people who are like-minded or potentially have been down that same pathway as we're currently experiencing. And it's quite difficult being in a regional context or an idea. It's just, I think, getting out there and making contact with people and asking the question, do you know of anyone who, and putting your hand up and being open and honest. I am neurologically diverse, or I am Aboriginal, or I am, part of the LBGQI T+ organisations or representatives, and saying, I'm really struggling with this. Can someone point me in the right pathway, or do you know of anyone? And people in the industry are quite open and willing to have those conversations, and whether a person gets in the industry or not is another question, but it might give them that motivation and a little bit of drive and positivity or motivation to continue doing what they're doing, because they are valued.
Sorry, Paulina. Yeah.
That's I think people skills is something that you need for the rest of your life. Because you will be talking to people for the rest of your life. Even our programmers, and both of our programmers have come from corporate. So transitioning is more common than you think, from different industries. They all need to be really good at talking to each other and to the team. And I think that just comes from being, a kind person, practicing, practicing thinking about social, and I don't know, it's hard to explain this, but yeah, David's definitely right. The games and tech industry is very neurologically diverse. And I think that's really cool, actually. I really like that our team is diverse in that way too. And what that means is that we need to create space for introverts. We need to create spaces for people who are quiet achievers, or everyone operates in a different way. And you just need to figure out how it is you operate and communicate that these are your needs, and think about how you can respect the needs of others as well when you have to work together. It's a difficult thing, but I think over time, everyone gets better at people skills the more you interact with people. It's just that thing. The more you play the game, the more experience you'll get.
The game. The word that comes to my mind is curiosity. Yeah. And I suppose linked with that is respect, like curiosity for yourself about what you're passionate about and how you work, and also giving space for others and linking with them.
Definitely, and curiosity
Sarah's
for others and how they work as well is also a great way of learning. Sorry, go on.
Oh, and Sarah's made, hi Sarah, she's made some comments too, and very similar to what we were just talking about, Paulina, about that idea of mentoring for autistic people who want to get into gaming, but also creating space for people who are non-speaking. Oh, not everyone uses their voice to speak. That's interesting.
A thing. So, for example, one of our artists is actually, she's a junior Aboriginal artist, and she's really amazing, and she's really quiet. She won't talk during meetings. That doesn't matter, because she brings something else to the project. She's such a great visualizer. She's like an impressive artist, and she also really understands internet memes. She's so good at internet memes. So what that means is that she understands the language and the culture of the internet, how that relates to the audience, how it relates to the market. See, that just means so much more than people think. So yeah, I definitely think I agree. We need to create space for different kind of people. I don't know exactly about mentoring. I know that there are some programs for mentoring with autism spectrum and things like that. I'd need to go dig up the resource. Maybe David or Ben knows.
Yeah, there is. With the Bendigo Tech School, we have got a program, although it hasn't been operating this year. I just can't remember the name of the organisation that runs it at the moment. But if you hop on the Bendigo Tech School website, Lyndon, you might like to pop it up. Sarah, you'll be able to find a bit about it. And I was just thinking in regards to, being, someone who's running an independent creative enterprise who's then contracting into other businesses or gaming studios. How are you going with all that, getting along with people and communicating and, getting into the nub of an idea? Is that something you've learned, or it just comes intuitively? Obviously, it's a big part of your success.
Oops, sorry, I was trying to mute then. Yeah, it's been a really sort of interesting pathway in that regard for me. It's quite the opposite to what David and Paulina are doing. So they're hiring in, I'm putting out. So yeah, I need to make basically every client the happiest client in the world, and make basically every product that they get, they're like, that is awesome, thank you so much. So I'm basically, you would say people pleasing, but I really like to enjoy doing this stuff. But for me, it's all about having really consistent, happy clients. And it was a skill set that definitely was learned. I did not pick that up straight away. Like, you really need to understand basically client needs, what their vision is. And you also want to avoid any sort of scenarios where you run into any hiccups. And there's always hiccups with projects, but it's how you manage them as well. So like I've had to really work at that because it is pivotal to my business. If I'm not good with people, then I'm not going to be a successful business.
I think it also comes back to having or making an effort. I hate public speaking and always have. But it's something a lot of people have to overcome. I've had to overcome it because to play in the space and be a founder and managing director of my own business, 100% Aboriginal owned, and potentially I wouldn't say I'm a champion in that space, but trying to be that leader and give other people an opportunity to follow or to be encouraged to create their own pathways. It's regardless of I understand neurologically diverse people and people from varied backgrounds, culturally and linguistically diverse. It's finding mentors are very. It's a difficult subject because it's a bit like a doctor. You've got to find someone that is right for you and like anything, I suppose, really that gels with you and your character and your personality and your persona. But if you're an introvert or a person that I suppose hasn't looked at working on yourself, and that is a difficult thing as well. But maybe look at YouTube videos to find other people who may have those similar traits or barriers to get into speaking, talking to people. There are other ways, reaching out through Twitter, Discord, some of the other social medias. Then it becomes tech based. If that's a barrier due to physical abilities or non-abilities, or whatever the case may be, voice, you look at programs like Alexa or Siri. They might be typed to voice, or there's a number of different opportunities. But I suppose it's a bit like the saying, you can't, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make the horse drink. It's a bit of a two-way street. You've got to look at addressing or going down some of those pathways. Yes, and it is difficult, and I think it's recognizing those difficulties and taking that initial step. Like I said, the industry is more than open and willing to help. It's just potential people in the industry just don't know what needs help with or what the assistance is that is needed from a variety of different individuals. And I think if that's communicated, people can say, "Oh, we'll speak to this person because they've had similar backgrounds, or maybe it might be a family member, and that's why they got into games because they want to play with their family members, individuals, loved ones." There is, and I will have to find it, and I'll send the link through to you, Tam. There is an American organisation around, I think it's Accessible Gamers or something like that. I'll have to find out, but they actually put out a deck of cards. Able Gamers. Xbox are doing some wonderful things as well. They've got controllers that are all abilities. So that was looking at people who've either been in traumatic experiences, war veterans, wanting to bond with family members, children, if they've been in an accident or IEDs and everything else, one arm, one leg, maybe not having the functionality as they did before. They might have a thumb. It's a bit hard to play on a controller with one thumb, but they're starting to address that because people have either or put their hand up and said, this doesn't work for me, or you're not addressing, or you're missing out on an audience because there are a lot of people like me, or whether it's neurologically diverseness, culturally diverseness. We're finding there is a shift and correct representation in the industry. People of colour, is it Rocket League? I think potentially one of the first games that have a function for people who are colourblind. Colour blindness is a big thing when it comes to games and the interactive media. So it's easier to have those things at the start and built in from the beginning rather than trying to plug them in and address them later on.
Sorry. Thank you for sharing that link, and thank you also for those insights, David. I really didn't expect this conversation to go down this pathway and be so weighted to that idea of people skills and participation and almost like the notion of self-development or working on yourself to be a part of an industry. I've got 5 more minutes with you. I just want to firstly ask if there is anyone in the audience that quickly want to say something or ask a question. Now is your chance. Do you think, like, just to sum up our conversation, have a quick reflection, do you think like that idea of, being regional and, getting started in the tech and games industry, obviously there is that, practical how-to side, but our discussion being so weighted about being a collaborator, being great at communicating, respect of yourself and others. Do you reckon that's a fair summary? What do you reckon? It's the whole picture.
Yes, and also definitely finding what you're really passionate about, I think, which David said a lot. Because I think that's what every creative person ends up doing. They just end up really being drawn to a particular thing that makes them want to do this thing, that makes them, take a difficult industry and job with all its insecurities and go after this because they really want to try this one creative thing.
Yeah, I think it's just coming back to your point about doing it regionally and everything, Tam. Like, yeah, that's been a really sort of interesting experience for me. And it has worked in my favor. Like, I do a lot of work with people in Melbourne predominantly, and I'm starting to shift to regional as well, so I have a bit more of a diverse client base. But yeah, it is something that is totally doable. And I think people are learning now through the pandemic as well that it is becoming very possible. I'm sure it's a bit of a weird transition if you have never done it before, and you're going to run into a lot of hurdles. Yeah, people are starting to really realize that you can run businesses from your office, from your bedroom. Like, it's really quite doable. Yeah.
100%, like 90% of our games has been made through an online Discord server. So there you go.
Cool.
Cool. Well, I was just going to do a quick shout out for the Emporium Creative Hub, who have got a networking event coming up early December. Again, Linda, if you want to share that link. And I think that's going to be a great opportunity for people to share what they're interested in or find other people with skill sets they're looking for. Might have a chance to discuss a problem and share it with other people and, just network. And obviously putting yourself in a uncomfortable situation and, being brave and sharing what you're into is exactly what you need to be doing if you are wanting to get into the tech and gaming industry, especially in a regional location. So I hope you might consider that. I hope I get an opportunity to meet you all in person and get to know your practice and business a lot more. And I'm also really hoping that something awesome around gaming and the tech industry is going to happen in Bendigo next year and that you'll be a part of it. Thank you so much for joining us today. It's been really good.
Thank you. That was great. Cheers.
Thanks.
No worries. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Paulina and David. Let's see what 2021 brings. And Pauline, before we do go, have you got a game launch happening in a second, potentially? Is there anything secret there?
Not till next year.
Next year, we'll keep an eye out.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
No worries. Have a wonderful week.
Take
Bye-bye.
care.